Hello there. Yeah. In case you didn't know, Create just dropped an update. And it's freaking awesome. That's right. Oh man, there's so many awesome things in this update. So let's let's take a look at it all. Oh, an update. We're supposed to be making a video. We're supposed to be, not just playing around with this update and doing crazy things. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I get a little distracted playing around with this amazing, awesome update? There's so much again to look at. So let's stop horsing around. I'm sorry. This update is all about logistics, and it calls it high logistics, which I think is pretty amazing, and all about, processing and automation of stuff. And so most of the things it adds all kind of pertain to that. And it is honestly one of the coolest updates I've seen in Create trains were awesome, don't get me wrong, but it is amazing to have the things in this update. So let's stop horsing around, going around. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna look at here is this item hatch. You can see here it's just a trapdoor and andesite alloy, and this thing is pretty sweet. So basically what it allows us to do is it allows us to dump items into any inventory. It can be a chest, it can be a barrel, or in this case an item vault, which is super helpful with item vaults because you don't have to set up the whole funnel in and all that kind of stuff, but just click it and it dumps in. Or if I shift click, it dumps everything that was in my inventory, which was the rest of that suit. Other nice thing about this is you can actually add filters to it. So take a look at this list filter. I've got all these different kind of logs. And if you look at my inventory here, I've got some logs, I've got some stone grass and stuff. And if I click here now, you see it grabbed all the logs. Now this works with an attribute filter too. I've got this here where I can say any natural blocks, right? They come from the natural blocks creative menu. I've got cobblestone, stone, and grass. You see it grabbed all those. So this is super neat. Again, it can be a quick dump of your inventory when you're coming back from mining. You can set this up on certain areas if you only want certain items to come in here. And again, this doesn't have to be one of these filters. It can be that you just want it to take your diamond blocks here. You try to click it with anything else, and it won't go in. Diamond blocks, it will. Same as you see here, I've got other stuff in my inventory. Again, only takes pretty straightforward but super useful tool there. Now the next block we're going to be looking at kind of brings us into the whole logistics piece of this, which has to do with our fun little packages we saw over there. And this is called a packager. So if we take a look at the recipe here, it's cardboard, which we're going to be looking at here in a little bit, redstone and some iron. So not crazy expensive, but super powerful. So how this works is you attach it to an inventory and you give it a redstone signal, and it will package up the items from your inventory in here. Now if we take a look here, it's got an address on it. We'll take a look at that. It's got my cardboard, chest plate, and all that. Now we can place these suckers down, and they've got a little life, and if I break that, it'll actually give me all the items that were in there. Just a random assortment. Or these things you hold, right click, you can actually throw these. Whoa, okay dude. Additionally, you can crouch, click, and it'll open up the package for you. So pretty neat little thing there. Now you saw it said that factory, that was an address, and you can give that by attaching a sign or a hanging sign to the side of it. And we'll take a look at the addresses here in a sec. Now these packages can work on belts here. So if we apply that redstone signal, you see it'll pull it out and it'll get pulled in here. Now it'll just store it as a cardboard package if you don't have another packager at the end here. So go here, obviously it's just gonna spit the package out, add other items in there, it would have packaged it too. And then with the packager, you can see it actually unpacks all of our stuff, which is pretty neat. Now, say you want to have some sort of process happen to the items that come along in a package, which we're gonna be taking a look at crafting and stuff like that later, but a mechanical saw can be used to open up that package if it's in line with belts. This is a cool feature they added in order to make it more compact. We package those items back into a package, run it along here. You'll see that that'll open it up, and now we've got all of the items that are in there. Now, the cardboard packages can hold up to 9 stacks, so a row from an inventory, just to keep a note there if you're trying to figure out how many items that it's actually able to send. So you can see here, one whole row. Now we already saw this in my little intro there. These chain conveyors are pretty freaking amazing. So let's take a look at how these work here. This is them in their kind of form, right? And then Here, let's go up like this so you can see it. They can take power from either the top or the bottom, or they actually transfer power using chains, right? So you see here, I don't have all of these powered. They're receiving here. So this is another method for transferring stress units and rotational force. And you just need to use chains to connect them. So you click on your first one with a chain, and it'll tell you if it's a valid connection. Now, as you can see here, you can do angles up, angles over. It doesn't have to be all right angles. I think there is a 32 block distance horizontally for these, and then there's a little bit of play, if we're going left and right. But now if the angle's too sharp or whatever, it'll tell you it's a can't connect. And then yeah, if I come here and connect this here, you see it connects and these all start spinning, which is pretty cool. So almost looks like power lines running along for your stress units, which is pretty awesome. And as you can see here, you can have multiple connections to one hub, which is also really cool. And again, as you saw in my intro, if you hold a wrench, you can actually click on these here and it will send you up and along. If you can fit. Obviously, if your hitbox is too big. If you're coming along to an area here, it'll send you along whichever way that you're pointed. So if I point back, well, I obviously didn't have enough room there. If I come here again and I point this way, oh, I must have been pointing up. If I point back, there you go. It'll again point me in whatever direction. That can happen for just one like that too. And I can either right click or crouch to let go. And you can see it also has this really cool kind of hanging animation, which I think the detail and the cool little things that they put into this update are just amazing. Now if we come in here and let's change this to end, because I've got a receiver over there called end. These addresses matter based on where you're trying to send it. Now you can add these addresses to different blocks, and I've got a froggy over there, which we're going to take a look at the package frog ports here in a second, but you can actually manually attach these here, and it's going to try to go along and find an address. Now, you can see here with this package, if there's no address, it'll just get stuck on whichever one it's spinning around at, and it'll get stuck there. But besides manually, we have these package frog ports, and they can automatically add them to this. Now, you can use a packager in conjunction with these for receiving and whatnot. You can also just put it above a storage, and if you put in a package, it will, like you see there, it automatically attaches it, and it's going to go try and find the targeted frog port. So you see this one's called end, so it's following along the convoluted path that I set, but here we go. Now, like I said, you can use funnels to import these. It doesn't just have to come in here. These are the ones that we've been sending over. Say I want to send this wrench to over there. I apply that redstone signal, and it's just going to attach there. But oh wait, these are both actually labeled for over there. You see over here, it's called over here, not over there. So obviously the names have to match. So that was a little cheeky thing I wanted to do there. But if I go ahead and update this, you'll notice that those packages now have a route, and they're going to head along our chain drives, and they will find their way to where they need to go. Oh, I guess that one had to do a loop around because the frog port was busy. So let's remove this one here and let's check it out. Look, so if you're holding a frog port in your hand, you can see as you hover over the chain, you get that kind of little square, and that's basically wherever it's going to interact with the chain. And if you say click over here, you see it'll give you green if it's close, or if it's too far away, it'll give you a red. So if I come here, click here, and I can put it there, see it's green, and then I can give this a name. Now anything addressed to start will come all the way over here and end up here. And this will now interact with the chain of that spot and send it to any destination that the package has. So you can route this and have these go crazy. There's some really sophisticated stuff you can do here, and we're going to be looking at even more sophisticated ways that we could be looking at that. Okay, I get it. Shh, we'll get to you. You're towards the end of the video, buddy. So one thing here is really, if this has got a constant redstone signal, I fill this up with our good old trusty diamond blocks. It's actually going to just keep going as long as it can send inventory. We can turn that off. And these chain conveyors aren't, super expensive. It's just a large cogwheel and andesite casing, which is awesome. And the frog port is just an iron ball, a slime ball, and an andesite alloy. Pretty cheap, but super powerful. These are awesome. I'm really excited to get these into my playthrough, though I'll probably have to wait a while for all the different crate add-ons to get added. All right, let's take a look at this stock link and these factory gauges. Now, what these basically allow us to do is create almost like a AE2 or a Tom Simple storage type storage system and automate it and do a whole bunch of stuff. So these stock links, when you attach them to a packager or really place them anywhere in the world, they can create a stock network, and then you can link them certain stock networks together, or you can have individual ones that are just by themselves. Now, by themselves, that is all they do is they connect whatever packager or inventory to that network, and then what you can do is you can use these factory gauges, which again are just a precision mechanism and a stock link. And the stock link are these transmitters and an item vault. Now the transmitters are a new item added in. They actually reworked like the redstone links to be an andesite tier item instead of a brass one, which is super cool. And they use these transmitters. It's just a lightning rod, these 3 copper sheets, which have been retextured. All the copper stuff's been retextured in this update. I don't know if I love all of it, but it definitely fits, I guess, more with the vanilla copper, which I think is what they were trying to do. But yeah, as you can see here, the redstone link is now kind of got an andesite texture to it, and it's just an andesite casing in that transmitter. All right, so how do we use these? So what you do is you can click on a stock link to connect it to that network, and then you can attach it to a packager or whatever. It'll take the storage of this and it can monitor different items, and if items get below a certain amount, it will request it from the stock. So let's take shaft for an instance. So if I just plug this in, it's going to tell me how many shafts are in here. It's got 384 now. I've got a bunch more over here, but it's reading from the connected inventory. And if I right click and hold down, I can say how many of these I want to have in there. So if I turn this to say 1 stack, and tell me I have 6 out of 1 stack. If I change this to be more stacks than it has, it says missing target address. Now if I right click this here, I can just do asterisks and that'll give it a wild card. Let's see if that works. Yep, okay. Since I don't have any way to address this port here, if I put the wild card, it'll just tell it to send it along, which just happens to work here for our case. Now you can see I've got 8 stacks. Now if I come in here and I hit 9, it's going to say, oh, I need 1 more. It's going to send a request. So if I ever take shafts out of here, it's going to go ahead and pull them into here from the connected network, right? All right, so say I want to request these from a network that's not kind of right here and connected. You can use these cool frog ports as well. So I've got this network set up over here. Our linked froggy here is set up to the same network, as you can see, and it's got a bunch of belts in here. So if I come over here and take a look at this over there was over here, so it was set to over here. So I gotta fix that. Basically, this is saying what's the closest one that's gonna bring it into you. So that's what it's saying, what's your target address. So that way, as it looks throughout the network, it's gonna send that package with that address, since the address is gonna be over there. Now I've got 17 in here, so if I take this up to 19, it's going to beep over here. That little frog port's gonna put it on there, and it's just gonna come all the way over, and over there it's gonna pick it up, bring it in here, and bing, you got a little bing, and then we're green. We got 19 and 19, which is awesome. So this is really cool if you've got different crafting setups or storage and you want stuff to be filtered automatically. So another use for these factory gauges, you can kind of set up this automated crafting system, which works out pretty well. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to dump some of these, more of these saplings in here because I only had 3. Now I have 1700, and essentially what I did is you link these to a stock link, and then you can place them down, and you can add pulp, for example, here. It's telling us that we have 0 pulp in these different systems, but that's because we're creating pulp here by adding water and a pulpable thing, so saplings or bamboo or sugarcane, right? So I've just got oak saplings in here. So this is saying, hey, I want there to be 1 full stack of cardboard. So it's pulling out 4 saplings at a time in order to mix them in here. We've got the saw like we showed before, open it up, and so it can get in here. And then this is getting pressed into cardboard. The cardboard's going in here. Now the reason that this keeps producing cardboard and that it's not actually finishing is because that cardboard is immediately getting called out and pulled in to create these blocks of cardboard, which is just 4 cardboard in a row. That's because I've got this here requesting a full stack of cardboard blocks. So as soon as this fills up, this can then fill up, and then that one will be, that request will be met. And now this one, it's just telling me how much I have in there because I have it on inactive on this side. Which is saying, just show me how much is in the system. Now I could probably add pulp here in the middle to say, hey, I need to get pulp in order to get this, but because I'm not storing the pulp in a stock link connected storage, I figured it just made sense to say, hey, just request these. And that is, I think, why it has you custom add what you want the recipes to be in order to be able to do this kind of stuff if you want it. Because if you just said, if it automatically said, hey, you need pulp, you don't have any pulp, then you'd have to add a link to each individual one, and that would be kind of a pain. So they've obviously thought this through really well and done a super good job on this update. Now you can see here I've got this mechanical crafter, and you can set it up to send the correct amount of whatever it is, and it can be a mixed bag. So if we take a look here at the ponder, now they've obviously outdone themselves again on the ponders. Always fantastic. If you're struggling with this and I didn't go over it, go into the ponders. They go over a lot of really good stuff. We're going to go ahead and skip ahead to this section here, or the next one, which talks about the crafter. So essentially what you have to do is it has to be a 3x3 crafting grid. You can add the different resources in here, right? And then you have a unpacker here to receive the different boxes, but you need to make sure that you wrench them all so that they're all connected together. That's a key part of that. Now, one thing that could come up is, say if you were using one mechanical crafter setup like this, and you had several different requests coming to build different things. You can do that. You can use one crafter to craft many different things. But say you had, that diamond pickaxe example. Say you had a diamonds coming from one side and sticks coming from another because they're stored in different areas, or you're manufacturing the sticks over here and your diamonds are stored over here. Whatever the reason, you want to make sure that those packages all arrive here, otherwise it's going to mess up. And we see that here in the repacker, which is you just take a packer and you put it in your crafting grid. But what this is, it's essentially built for this exact setup of combining different orders at once. So if you see here, if we had this set up, if they, daisy chained and you had order B in the middle of your order A, you see here it's going to mess up and it's not going to work. What the repacker does is it understands those packages go together. So order A, it's going to wait until it has all of order A. As you see here, A and B went in at the same time, nothing's coming out because A came in first and it's waiting for A to be all ready. So A is going to run through. You can see all of the ingredients at once that were needed are inside of that. And there you go. Now your planks can come in and they can be crafted. Pretty neat stuff. They've obviously thought of a lot of things, and I think this is fantastic. We've not got a full thing here yet. Alright, 2 more. Alright, and here we go. That should be our last one. So that's going to see bing, and that's going to show green. Now this is going to take its time to fill up. Now one more logistics piece that I didn't look at, we're going to take a look back here at, are these post box. Now these are tied to trains. Essentially what it does is allows trains to be part of your network. So you can tie, packaging into this, you can tie automation, but essentially if your package has a specific address to it that ties to these post box, it'll send it via train. For example, if I do this as factory and I create a package, as you can see here, it's set to factory. This panda here, panda friend, if we take a look at his train schedule, it just says deliver package. So basically it's going to wait at the train station wherever it's at until a package arrives, and then it's going to take that package and it's going to deliver it to wherever the address is. So you don't have to set up a mail route if you don't want to. You could have this where it always comes back to a mail system or whatever it is. So that's a really cool feature. Again, they added they thought of a lot of things with this. So you see he's just going to wait here and wait for this package. Add this factory in here. Oh, and there's another cool thing here. Depots now can hold inventories on trains and they display their items, which is pretty cool. And boom, it automatically pulls it in. Now how these work is you actually take and you attach them to a train station and you get the same kind of connect. So as long as it's close enough to that train station, And you can place it down, and then you can give it whatever name you want. So this could be Factory 2. The cool thing about this is I can have these connect to the same train station, but then I can have them pull out and go off into different things. So even though this is one location, one drop-off spot, I could have several different things here. So that way if I have a different spot that's sending it to Factory 2, this Factory 2 would offload that stuff and do what it needs to without having to do any sort of filtering past this until it gets to where its destination is, which is pretty amazing. So I'm going to change this and I'm going to add it to travel back to export once it's delivered a package. Let's see if this works. Now it should just sit here until it gets a package. And yeah, seems to be still just sitting here. I'm going to pick up that package again. Oh, there it goes. So now he's going to go deliver that. It was a cute baby panda when I put him on there. Grow up so fast. Oh, and there he goes. Back off to the main. So if you wanted to set up some sort of mail carrier, again, you wouldn't have to have a specific route and wait for that to come. You could just sit in the mail location and send it out from there. Or your delivery drivers could be specific to your factory or whatever it is, right? Pretty cool stuff. All right, Mr. Goat, you've been bleating at me to show off what you're doing here with your fancy little hat. All right, so we talked about having some sort of inventory system similar to AE2, and you're like, hey, I get it, you're routing different stuff, the logistics, that's really cool. How does that help me access that, right? Now, that comes into play with these stock tickers. So this is just any sort of glass over a stock link and a gold ingot, and these can be set up in conjunction with an animal. So it needs to be a mob or a blaze burner. So if it's a blaze burner, you can just set it next to it, and I've got an example of that here in a minute. Or if it's just a different mob, you just have a seat next to it and place that mob on it, and he'll get this little shopkeeper's hat, which is pretty cool. Now to use this, you can come on here and you can, I'm not quite sure what these categories are for. List or attribute filter. Oh, okay. So that's in order to filter what you see here. Because if you see here, I can see everything that's up in, there's an item vault up on the roof, and I can see everything that's in there. So if I use those lists or attribute filters, maybe I don't want every stock ticker to be able to access that. Well, that's just fine. See, it's a little like roll of paper. Anyway, but I can come in here, and I've got this stock box frog here as my destination down here, and I can tell it I want some pie. In fact, I want 6 pies. If I hit send here, little ding goes off, send it up to the link up there, and here comes my pie. I mean, who doesn't want a special pie delivery? Where are you going? Just kidding. There you are, you sneaky pie. And now here in my stock box, I can have pie. Now this is a little bit manual process, right? You have to click on here, the stock keeper. You can search items if it gets really full, but this is awesome for, again, accessing your inventory. And these don't have to all be in one, item vault. You can have a whole stock network, and it'll pull the appropriate items from wherever it needs to go. And that's, I don't know, that's freaking awesome to me. But you can have this redstone requester. Now this is cool for, again, automated things or you can do a bunch of different stuff, but with the stock ticker and with the redstone requester, what you do is you take that and you have to click on a specific link, and that'll connect it to that network, which I did with the network up there for both of these. And if I click on the redstone requester, I can add items to this, and I can tell it allow partial orders or it must send all the items, which if it says it must send all the items, it's going to wait until it either has all those items, or I think it just voids it out. It won't actually fulfill the request. So if I want 6 enchanted apples, click this. And again, this can be on a repeater. It can have different redstone logic to it in order to have it request different things instead of it having to be a player coming and interacting with our shopkeeper. And there we are. I love that animation. There's our 6 enchant. Oh. That's one way to get them out. Now the cool thing about this is this can also be set up with another really cool block that they added, which is aesthetic at first looking. It looks aesthetic only, but has some way more features. We're going to come out here actually take a look at it, and that is the tablecloths. Now they've got the red tablecloth is your standard one, but you can see here they've got different colors. They even have andesite, brass, and copper table covers. Let's just grab a couple of these, and basically it just goes over a block and then kind of creates this little overlay here, which is pretty cool. And the same works for these ones. Create little tables. As you see, I've got the scaffolding underneath here. But what you can do with these is you can actually create shops. So, well, first off, if you place these down, they hold an item or items. Get the 4, yeah. But if you want them to be, as a store, you create another stock network. So I've got my stock link here connected to this vault, which creates the network, and then this stock ticker is connected to that network. And then again, Blazeburner works for these the shops. So I added him next here. He's going to be my guy. And you can see here, I can get in here and use this. Now the network's open, but if it was locked, only I would be able to do it, which I would do in this case for a store. 18 emeralds. I was testing out and played it. So the proceeds from your store get kept in the stock ticker, and you can come get them. Only you can get them out of here. But essentially what you do is you take a tablecloth and you right click on your stock keeper. You can see I've got my tablecloth here. Now I can add whatever I want in here, and I hit configure, and now I've got this additional one here. And what you can do is you then add a price here. So this is buying one of each. So we want to make it worth 2 emeralds. Now you come in here and you click this. Any player can come click on this and they get this little receipt that says, hey, you're going to get 1 bottle of enchanting. It's going to cost you 1 emerald. And if I click again, I can up that list and see that I'm going to get 7. Now if I click on a different one, it actually goes away. You can see here I can do that. It says this is going to cost me 8 because I'm going for 4 and 4 because this is a 2-for-1 deal, right? Now you take that ticket and you click on your shopkeeper. It takes the emeralds out of your inventory and sends your packages along to the front. Now, again, I just have this on a belt coming here, but you could send it through a frog system and train, any of those kind of things. You give it the destination and it'll take it there. Here I go. So you can set up fun shops for food or any of those kind of things. I think that'd be pretty cool. A few more blocks that were added in the game before I go back and cover some of the things I forgot. Here's the block of industrial iron, which was already in it. But now you have a block of weathered iron, which in order to get this, you can get it from stone cutting, or you can wash blocks of industrial iron and it gives you the weathered iron. Just got a nice kind of green tinted weathered look to it, which is pretty cool. They also added cherry and bamboo window variants. It was something that was missing, and each of those have their pane versions as well. And then also adds this industrial window and this weathered industrial window, and again it comes with block or pane variations of those. That's what I've got in this cool weathered iron window pane. It kind of randomizes what the different pane weathering is, which I think is freaking awesome. So take a look at that. It's one easy thing to quickly add some texture and some feel to your factories, which I think is awesome. As you can see here in JEI as well, you can see that the copper, we already kind of looked at this, the copper textures have changed. They've kind of made them have more parity with vanilla, which, and I kind of miss the old ones. I liked how they look, but I'm sure we'll get used to it. They've also changed the hose pulley and the elevator pulley. Sorry, the hose pulley and the rope pulley block kind of match what the elevator pulley was doing and do some more to make it more consistent with one another. They're a little bit more blockier and have a kind of panning texture instead, which is pretty cool. Now, additionally, we got another filter type, and this is a package filter. And this just allows us to filter packages. is. So if we take a look here in the ponder menu, you can add those to brass funnels and or tunnels, as you see here, and basically it allows you to auto route things on side of a belt route without it having to go through another package and unpackage in order to get the right location. Obviously, that's going to be super helpful when setting up, large factories with different things to do there, but essentially all it is you do that. They also added more functionality to the clipboard. You can copy and paste different names and stuff. As it pertains to the high logistics here, what you can also do, which is nice, is if you place it and you click it, obviously it's going to do that, but if you do a hashtag symbol and then add a name of a location there, what that does is any of these nearby ones here that are looking for different inventory or different locations to pull from, it gives you a drop down list of anything that you added in here. So if I added export factory 2, now you see here this one doesn't show up as a little package icon. That's because I forgot to do the hashtag. So if I do that in front, boom, it shows up again, and I can delete it even though it's not showing it, which is nice. And then if I come in here again, I can see those now show up here. So that's really nice. They don't automatically show up. It doesn't scan for all the different locations you can have. This is probably much more performance friendly, just because it doesn't have to constantly be scanning for different networks or blah 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 blah. It's another neat feature added to the clipboard. Again, it also added different copying and pasting of clipboards and things like that, so I don't have to go type this over and over again. I can put it down and I can copy it with another clipboard, and then I can use it wherever else I might need it. All right, we're going to show off something here. So if I have these cardboard sword, which is just 2 cardboard, and that looks like a roll of cardboard, which is awesome. It makes that whoop sound. Doesn't really hurt anything, but has a nice knockback effect. And as you can see here, you can actually add the knockback effect to it, and that's going to make it really fling those creepers there. Now, one more feature of the cardboard armor is if I go in here and I go to survival mode, these creepers are going to come after me, but if I'm down in a box, they don't see me. Disguised. Let's watch the animation as this guy goes. Oh, they're after me, Oh. And that's another limitation there of this, is yes, it works great unless you're right up close to them. So I can see my little my little eye holes. This creeper here. As soon as I get close enough. I've been having way too much fun with this. It's been taking me forever to get this video out because I keep just playing with it. All right, there's just a couple more items left here. This pulse timer, which is super awesome. You can see here you can change the pulse interval from ticks to seconds to minutes. And again, this just simplifies doing clocks or things like that. So absolutely love this addition. I think there's a few other mods, create add-on mods that added it, and other redstone mods that do too, but I'm glad this is inside of Create. And then we have this desk bell, which is pretty cool, and it gives out a redstone signal, but as you can see here, it does not receive a redstone signal. Now, there's one more feature with this desk bell. It has to do with elevators, so let's create one here real quick. My gluing skills are obviously subpar, but as you can see here, I've got 2 sets of double doors, so that's a new thing here, that if I change this here, you'll see that those double doors are closed. These ones are open. And if I scroll, my gluing skills are super subpar. I go up. Not only does this ding, but you can also use irregular bell, and as you can see there, just overrode each other. But the doors open up that are on that level, which I think is awesome. So if you got double doors facing into your elevator, they automatically open. You don't have to no longer do redstone stuff. Usually what I do is this will put out a redstone signal, and I'd have to send it over to open the doors. You no longer have to do that. I think that's a pretty cool change that they made. Now, one that I'm not going to show here because I don't really feel like setting it up real quick, but cobblestone generators with drills. If you have a storage thing to receive it below it or the side of it or whatever, it won't break the block and shoot it off in the world. It'll just automatically set it into that, which is really cool. It saves a lot of CPU and all that kind of stuff with lag. So I think that was a big add there. And on that note, I'm just going to go right around. Ooh. on these chain drives because they're friggin' awesome. Oh man, there's so many cool things in this update, and go ahead and go download it, go play around with it. I think you'll spend a lot of time like me, just kind of screwing around with a lot of things. And one last note, I already kind of mentioned this, but be careful on updating this if you have a mod pack that has a lot of create add-ons. Some of those are going to take a while, and be patient with those mod developers. I'm sure they are all getting bombarded right now with, when are you going to update to Create 6.0? Give them some patience. I've actually seen a bunch of them already are updating pretty quickly, but some of them have said it's going to be up to 2 weeks. That's just fine. That's great. That's a lot of work, and we need to be patient and appreciative of everything they do. Go check out this update. It's got a lot of really cool stuff. Go play with it, and you guys go have a wonderful time, and we will catch you in the next one.